Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a podcast and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from thousands of successful individuals from around the world. I'm your host, Ashutosh Garg, and today I'm delighted to welcome for a second time a very well-known and accomplished marketing executive, marketing guru from Los Angeles, USA, Lisa Perry. Lisa, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored.
Thank you. Lisa is a global marketing executive and she's an author. And all of you know I'm very partial to authors. She's an author of a book titled How to Develop a Brand Strategy. And today we'll be speaking about her book primarily. But Lisa, even though we've spoken earlier, tell me for my viewers and listeners about your own journey in brief before we come to your book.
Oh, thank you. Well, a common thread throughout my career in global brand marketing is driving first for companies that are looking for marketplace success. First in driving incremental growth platforms, helping companies surpass competitive rivals. And so when companies are looking to transform their marketplace, they look for my expertise. And so I specialize in launching innovative products, developing brand strategies, creating integrated marketing campaigns, to establishing impactful partnerships that drive double-digit growth and awareness. I've worked with Fortune 100 companies like the Walt Disney Company, the Coca-Cola Company, ConAgra Brands, and Activision, to emerging growth startups. My experience is not just launching products and repositioning brands and transforming products and marketing departments. It's creating lasting brand transformation and pioneering marketing first.
Wonderful. Thank you. So let's talk about your book, Lisa, How to Develop a Brand Strategy. I'm going to ask all our viewers and listeners to go and check out Lisa Perry's book. Before I ask you any question, tell me, what was your hypothesis when you decided to write this book?
Well, what I was finding is that people were challenged about how to develop a brand strategy. And so I wanted to make a simple guide with examples, real life examples, and templates to make it really easy, because a brand strategy is critical in order to make your brand stand out and thrive in the marketplace. Because if you don't do that and you just get right into the marketing side of it, your sales can take off, but then eventually, you can falter, your business can falter, and you're going to have to go back and do the branding side of it. And so I really wanted to make people feel that this wasn't an overwhelming process. It was easy, and give you all the templates and guides to walk you through it.
Wonderful. Thank you. And what, in your view, Lisa, are some of the key components of a successful brand strategy?
Well, there are a number of key components, and when they work together, they create a strong, cohesive, and recognizable brand. And so it starts with your purpose, your vision, and your mission. So why you exist, what you are looking to achieve, and the actions you want to take. And then your target audience. Identify and develop who your ideal customer is, their preferences, needs, and pain points. Your positioning, what makes you unique and how you want to position yourself in the minds of your consumers. Your brand promise, what you want to promise, what your customers can expect from your brand. Your value proposition, it's a statement that articulates your benefits and values that you want to provide to your customers. Your brand essence, the intangibles that you articulate, the soul of your brand. It's about 1 to 5 words that your customers feel. So like Coca-Cola is happiness and Pepsi is youthfulness. So that's an example there.
Yeah.
And your brand personality, it is the human characteristics that are associated with your brand. So your tone of voice, your visual design, and your tagline, which represents, it's a memorable statement that represents your brand. And we all know the infamous Nike, just do it. And M&M melts in your mouth, not in your hand. The great ones share a story that lasts a lifetime. And so they're typically 7 words or less. And then last but not least is your brand identity, which is your visual elements like your color, your logo, your design that identify and distinguish your brand in the minds of your consumers. So those are the core elements that you want as part
Well
of your
said.
brand
Great
strategy.
response. Thank you. And based on all the work that you've done with so many companies, and you must have done a lot of research for your book, what in your view are some of the common mistakes leaders or businesses make when developing their brand strategy?
Well, there are three common mistakes that really stand out that can hinder a success for a business. One is not understanding your audience. So not understanding and prioritizing their preferences, needs, and pain points, leading to a strategy that doesn't resonate with them. Second is lack of differentiation. And I've seen so many businesses make this mistake of not clearly articulating what makes them unique, which leads to a generic image in the marketplace that doesn't make them stand out.
Right.
And then last is an inconsistent branding, inconsistent color, logo, design, messaging, tone of voice. All of that creates consumer confusion and it dilutes your brand identity.
Well said. And what would be the potential risks of not having a clear brand strategy?
So when you don't know who you are, why you exist, what you believe in, what you're trying to achieve, and what makes you unique, your business is going to suffer.
Right.
You're going to see your messaging be inconsistent. Your team is going to struggle to articulate your brand, and you're not going to have a unique point of difference in the marketplace.
Right.
The risk of not having a clear brand strategy negatively impacts your reputation. It weakens your emotional connection with your audience. It limits who you attract as an audience. It limits your ability to drive customer loyalty. It erodes your competitive advantage. It compromises your market position. It also creates confusion and lack of focus. And above all, it diminishes your business value and profitability. Now, that was a long list.
Yeah.
So it is more important to have a clear brand strategy than risk. Not all of those things right there.
Well said. Very well said. And Lisa, what is the role of storytelling in developing a good brand strategy?
So, did you know that people base their decisions on emotion and then justify it rationally?
Right.
95% of brand experiences are based on emotion. And so storytelling evokes emotion. A brand, their storytelling is told through stories that translate their value into real life experiences that make the brand relatable and human. Storytelling also helps differentiate a brand through its unique narrative that it shares. And trust is built through authentic storytelling by sharing the brand's journey, the challenges, the successes, and finally, storytelling, it fosters that brand loyalty.
Well said, well said. But my next question, Lisa, is that in the age of technology and all the social media channels and all the opportunities that come up with digital marketing, how does an organization or a brand manager approach developing a brand strategy?
Well, in terms of leveraging the technology to develop a brand strategy, you want to utilize analytics to develop your insights, right? To understand the preferences, the needs, and the pain points of customers, because that's going to enable a brand to be more targeted, to customize their preferences, tailor their messaging, and anticipate their experiences. You want to utilize social media platforms. Brands can connect with customers, build communities, and customize the experiences that resonate with them. And embrace automation and artificial intelligence. You know, automation is going to, streamline tasks and enhance efficiency, while AI can analyze vast amount of data, which is going to help for better decision making and predictive analytics. There's also, immersive experiences through virtual reality and augmented reality, which allows consumers to engage with the brand in a more interactive way. And the last that we're seeing is e-commerce, right? Which is expanding the reach globally now through a more convenient online global shopping experience.
Well said, well said. And what is, in your view, is the importance of having a very consistent set of messages when it comes to your brand across so many different social media platforms?
Yeah, it's so critical, right? I think the first thing is it builds brand recognition. When audiences see a uniform message and visual style across all touch points, it reinforces that brand message. The other thing is it fosters trust. Consumers are more likely to trust a brand that presents itself consistently. And then I think it also builds and reinforces the brand value and messaging. And then the last one I think that's really key is it simplifies the consumer journey. It seamlessly, the experience, when it's seamless, it ensures that the consumer moves through the journey effortlessly from one touch point to the next.
Well said. The other question that I had for you, Lisa, is how can a business deal with the conflicts between brand strategy and short-term sales targets?
Yeah, I think it's important to prioritize long-term business needs with the immediacy of sales opportunities. So, for example, prioritizing brand building activities with sales goals. such as targeted promotions that align with your business values, that create limited time offers that highlight your unique qualities, or even create loyalty programs, customer programs. I
Right.
think the key really is to in the decision making to balance the short-term sales initiatives, sales goals, with the long-term brand building growth.
Okay. My next question is now for small businesses. And, a very large number of our viewers and listeners are under 34, and, a lot of them are startup entrepreneurs. I'd love to get your perspective on how can small businesses develop a brand strategy on a limited budget?
Well, there are some key areas to focus in on. And I think the first is you've got to have your brand mission, vision, and values. That is the foundation of which to build from. But you also need to know what makes you unique and different in order to stand out from the competition. And you can start by identifying your target audience through affordable market strategy methods like online surveys and polls. Those are affordable options out there. Also want to leverage affordable digital marketing platforms like social media, email marketing to drive brand awareness, engage with your audience through content sharing, and nurture those customer relationships. There are so many free resources, affordable, low-cost options out there now. The other option is to collaborate with businesses and influencers to expand your reach and to pool resources. And the last thing I want to encourage people to do is to continuously monitor and measure your performance metrics in order to adapt your strategy where needed. Because I think that sometimes gets missed as well. But those are some affordable strategies that
Great
small businesses do.
Great response. Thank you. Uh, you know, the young all over the world now are now looking at issues of sustainability. I'm a boomer, and I never even these thoughts never crossed my mind, but I'm learning about it now. How can an organization incorporate sustainability into their brand strategy?
Well, I think it starts with a genuine commitment to social and environmental responsibility. Start by taking a look at your current practices. Where are there opportunities for improvement? And then what are the actionable goals that you can implement? And the key is to communicate that transparently to your audience. They want to see and hear that. And then integrate that into your core values, your operations, and your marketing initiatives. I think the key is to be authentic. Do your actions align with your brand values? Because it's important to build trust and loyalty with your customers with the actions that you do.
Well said. So, Lisa, I have time for two more questions. My next question is, what strategies would you recommend to engage stakeholders? And when I say stakeholders, I include the board of directors, the shareholders, the creditors, the employees, and so many others. How do you engage stakeholders in a brand strategy?
Well, there are a number of things that you can do to engage stakeholders across the organization to gain their perspective. But I want to talk about two that I find really valuable. And the first that I like to do is ask stakeholders across the organization, what is the company's brand value? And provide me examples of how the company embodies those brand values. And then I look for common threads the answers I get.
Mm.
So, for example, if a common thread I got was innovation, then I want to see how the company measures against that.
Mm.
So, how many product launches have they done?
Right.
Do they have a culture of innovation and risk taking?
Mm.
So, does what they say match the actual results?
Mm.
The second exercise I like to do is ask stakeholders across the organization to describe the brand in 20 words or less.
Mm.
And the key here is there consistency across the responses?
Right.
These couple of exercises, and there are a ton more out there, but the exercises like that, when you do that as part of the brand strategy, you ensure buy-in and ownership from stakeholders across the organization.
Mm.
The other thing that I would recommend that people do is that once you develop the brand strategy, then develop a communication rollout plan
Mm.
that emphasizes how the organization is going to contribute to its success and
Mhm.
tailor your communication to each group's interests
Right.
and define their role and responsibility and how they're going to bring that brand strategy to life,
Mm.
because that is going to further gain buy-in and ownership from everybody across the organization.
Well said. And my last question to Lisa, what are some of the trends you are noticing in brand strategy that businesses, brand managers, entrepreneurs should be aware of?
So there are several, but I'll just take a few to highlight.
Mm.
One, personalization is huge.
Yeah.
Consumers today are expecting a tailored experience.
Mm.
Second, I think data and AI, you know, this is going to define how brands engage with consumers.
Mm.
We're seeing a shift in authenticity and transparency in
Mm.
how um, brands engage in a more meaningful way with consumers. And storytelling is really gaining some ground
Yeah.
in developing a more um, deeper connection with consumers based on storytelling.
Mm.
Um, we just talked about this
Yeah.
sustainability and
Yeah.
sociability.
Mm.
It's becoming non-negotiable for
Correct.
consumers. And leveraging digital marketing platforms
Mm.
through interactive and immersive experiences is
Mm.
definitely on the rise.
Wonderful. And on that Lisa, and your amazing points of trends, which is, I'll just repeat these, personalization is getting important. Data and artificial intelligence is something people should be aware of. Brand must be able to communicate authenticity and transparency. Storytelling is gaining ground. Sustainability is the new consumer is beginning to demand sustainability. And it is important to be able to leverage all the digital platforms. Thank you for speaking to me about your own journey. Thank you for speaking to me at such length about your book, How to Develop a Brand Strategy. And we discussed many, many different aspects of branding strategy, and not just for large companies, but for startups as well. Thank you for speaking to me, and good luck to you.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure connecting and speaking with you
Thank you.
on this.
Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the Brand Called You.